baggy jeans and a beat up pair of sneakers. Congos on the radio, fishermen. Dreadlocks in a room full of tweakers. We didn't know.
All right, welcome to Crushing Brevard. Today we've got Bill Angstadt here. Bill is an interesting dude. Started here, Colorado, back here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey and how that all went, and
Sure.
a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I grew up on the beach over here. I was born in Florida, actually. I'm a real Floridian.
Whoa, then you're the one.
Right? That's a weird thing nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've spent quite a few years in the handyman business, working under some other contractor eventually, and started collecting my own clients along the way, and got busier and busier, and really enjoyed the freedom of working for yourself, and the kind of guy that would work, 8 days a week, 20 hours a day if I could, and then take a whole month off.
Okay. Yeah.
I love to travel a lot too, so that was always a great perk to the kind of work. And then so when things really changed, 2008 and 9, Florida was hit pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people were losing money and jobs and stuff. And I stayed busy for as long as I could. I had a great list of high-end clients that kept me busy for a while, but eventually decided it was slowing down too much and ready for a change.
Okay.
So I decided to head out west and see what I could find. I sold everything I owned and packed up a little bitty pickup truck and hauled butt.
Nice. All right.
And so I ended up in Colorado. Actually, I thought I was heading to California. I had quite a few friends out there, but I stopped in Colorado where my mom lived at the time, and I had known a couple that I grew up with here, so I stayed with them for a little bit. And next thing I know, I was kind of invested. I started getting work, and I opened up a business, indoor renovations,
Okay.
and started working and doing the best I could to try and find work.
Okay.
Moved around in Colorado for a little while, just trying to, hunker down some work, and it wasn't easy. There was a lot of hurdles to jump. A lot of people were tight-knit and already knew who they knew. It was hard to make new connections. And then just after some time, I just fell into some specialized stuff in a special niche, I guess you could say, with the marijuana industry that was booming back then. This was 2010 that I moved out there.
And when did it become legal in Colorado? I don't remember. They were early though.
It was pretty early. I think medical started in the early 2s,
Okay.
but no one even realized it so much. And it wasn't like a big boom or anything.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if recreational started, maybe that was in about 2010 or 11.
Okay.
Or maybe it was earlier than that, 8 or 9, I don't remember
Just
specifically.
in that, right about when you got
And it got real busy in the first couple of years, and people started moving. I mean, people already love Colorado. People were moving there a lot anyway, like they moved to Florida. But that really changed things too, where a lot of people moving there just for the marijuana industry.
Were you Denver, Colorado Springs?
Colorado
Boulder?
Springs.
Colorado Springs, okay.
And so Colorado is Denver, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo, like the 3 biggest cities.
Okay.
And all the little cities in between them, like Boulder is out to the north.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of in the middle, and I could still work Denver and Pueblo, and I even lived in Pueblo for a short while. And when I got back to the Springs, I just started meeting some people and that were in the marijuana industry, and because I was construction, people started asking me to help them with their grow setups and small little things, setting up lights or wiring some stuff. And I'm like an all-around guy. I can do just about anything. I could do light electrical, plumbing, flooring, kitchens, baths, simple stuff like painting, but even roofing and concrete. I'll even do your garden for you.
Okay.
And so people started asking for help with that stuff, and I started learning how this equipment worked. I started learning how the operations worked, and it all just made real easy sense to me. Like I was a natural, so I could set up these grows, and I could maximize their square footage, let's say, or their amperage, let's say, depending on what they were trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And it just came natural to me, and I started getting really good at this stuff. And so more and more people were asking me to design these things now and help me figure out a floor plan. And so sometimes I would just do design work, sometimes I would build stuff, sometimes I would even manage the grows for them. I started growing myself and just was natural at that too, did really good with it.
Okay.
My first couple of grows, I just achieved some really amazing greatness right off the bat. And there's ups and downs, you're gonna have some fails too, and you're gonna have all kinds of other issues, but it was fun for a while. It was very new and interesting to me. And I enjoyed the idea of it felt like science and art, a good blend of science and art. Like I also brew beer on the side sometimes. I haven't in a while, but that was another one where it's like science and art. Mm-hmm. You gotta have a real artistic eye for some of this stuff, not just all science.
Yeah, it's not 2 cups of this and 1 cup of that. There's a lot of feel and Okay.
And there's a bunch of recipe and there's a bunch of real standardized stuff, but then there's just that artist touch to know what to tweak when, or it could all tank and crash real quick.
Okay.
And so I just was really good at that stuff naturally and had a lot of fun with it in the beginning, and made a good deal of money with that kind of stuff too. Eventually started to get a little old. The laws were constantly changing. The kind of people in that industry are a lot of wannabe gangsters and a lot of You know, I don't know.
All right, so what would that look like? Like people come over like, hey man, don't sell in my neighborhood. Like it's legal, dude. We can do what we want to.
Well, that's the interesting thing too. The black market in the beginning was still better than the legal market. All the good shit was underground still. The stores were selling the garbage.
Oh, okay.
And then you start to learn, you know, there's a lot of backdoor deals. A lot of these guys were already illegal to begin with and trying to go legal. So they already had a bunch of illegal connections too. So if they couldn't do well with the store, they started selling out the back door illegally and do a little bit of both. And I would get worried that, you know, how many laws am I breaking here? What am I doing that could be wrong? I don't even know.
Well, yeah, you were saying so it's brand new, right? And the government's tweaking it because they want to maximize what they're getting out of it, which is
and it's federally illegal yet legal in the states. So
and that was very weird too. So in the beginning, there was no banking structure at all either.
Oh.
And so these guys could be making cash hand over fist, $100,000 or more a month. What do you do with all this cash?
Yeah.
And that was another very bizarre thing that happened in the first, maybe 2013, 14, 15 era. All the cartels started learning about they're losing a lot of money to this legalized weed.
Yeah.
And they learned that in places like Denver, there's people with just safes packed full of cash. We can go there and screw with these people, even torture these people into giving up their money. And that happened more and more. Eventually, the feds had to start paying attention.
Yeah.
Eventually, the banking system did arise. So there were some good changes, but a lot of bad crap along the way to make those changes.
Wow.
And so that's why I started feeling on a much smaller scale, just even in my little world. You know, a lot of these guys are all tatted up and very gangster-like, and just the way they talk and act and hold themselves. And they're trying to get into a legitimate world, but they're still very illegitimate feeling and acting, and all their friends and all their things they do at home and privately.
Yeah.
It got, over the years, it started getting weirder and weirder. I think I'm looking over my shoulder too much, and you make good money, but how much do you want to really be afraid of people?
Yeah.
And
the doorbell rings, you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's startling. Why someone at my house uninvited? What
you
is
got
that?
50 grand in cash at your house. It's like, you just feel like a target.
Yeah,
Cool.
constantly worrying. And a lot of these people too, I mean, there was times, I never lost money or got ripped off, but there was times where some of these guys would owe me 50, 60 grand and keep saying, oh yeah, no, I'm good, yeah, no worries, just keep on working. And I start worrying, well, I trust them, they've always paid me before, but what if something happens to them?
Yeah.
What if they get raided? What if they get shut down? What if they get murdered
Right.
while owing me all this money?
Right.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And that had to be so stressful. It felt the same, I guess, as being in massive debt. It wasn't really debt, but just that possibility of, that was too stressful too. I really started hating all that. So I started kind of getting out of that business and focusing just more on the home remodels and renovation stuff that I always did. And that can be good money too, as long as you stay busy enough and you know what to charge.
Yeah.
You know, in my early years, I was always not charging enough, undercutting myself too much, but trying to gain clients.
Yeah. Same.
And like where my own worst enemy, where I want to be so overly fair, I'm ruining myself.
Yeah.
I should be charging double that. So that's a bit of a learning curve too in this, working for yourself.
Okay, so you got out of that, and did that precipitate the move back to Florida? Or was there
that was part of it. That's what led to me thinking about that. I like Colorado. I love the nature. I love the camping in the mountains. I was a surfer growing up, so snowboarding was kind of cool. But I always went at the wrong times. It was like peak tour season, so bouncing off tours and rock hard ice was just no fun at all. I got sick of snowboarding real quick.
Okay.
And so, going camping and being out in the woods and having four-wheelers and big trucks and stuff was kind of fun. I had to do that stuff here. I had jet skis, four-wheelers, and mud trucks. So it was all familiar ground, but eventually I'm missing the warm ocean. I miss scuba diving and surfing and fishing. I don't even see the mountains anymore. I'm busy with work all the time. And so I started getting a little bit homesick. It took more than 10 years, but I got homesick. And I was constantly coming back all the time. There was always these great dirt cheap flights on Frontier for a while to Colorado Springs to Orlando.
Okay.
So I'd come back almost on a monthly basis or every other month. But eventually I just really started thinking, once I started changing or getting out of the marijuana stuff, I started, maybe I should consider moving back to Florida. I enjoy myself there more. I've got lots of friends there still, some family, and it feels a bit nostalgic. The beach that I grew up on, went to try and buy some property here, and like to.
Yeah.
I missed that one. Damn it! I almost bought a gray one a couple of years ago, and I passed because it wasn't quite the right thing. And now
there's a lot of people in that boat. Let me tell you, the last couple of years have been
and for 3 years I've been watching the market and constantly getting from the insiders that I know that are in that kind of stuff, whether they're financiers or builders. Oh, it's coming! It's finally coming! There's going to be a drop in the market. It just hasn't. It's just now finally starting. Nearly 2.5 years later, being just waiting and being patient.
Yeah.
Luckily, I bought a great house in Colorado Springs back in 2015 at a good time. And
Okay.
it's worth a lot of money, and I don't owe anything on it. So I'm trying to, I don't want to let that go, but I want to get something in here.
Yeah.
And so I've been working towards that, and that's why I decided to finally come back and move over here last summer, and get local so I can be on top of it a little bit, watching the market, be ready for things.
Yeah. Well,
and get clients again, get some of my old clients back, try to make some new ones.
Yeah. It's so we're still, the area is still growing is the problem, right? So people are still coming into the area and
High demand.
Yeah, and now with the Cape getting all revitalized, the SpaceX going crazy, and what's happening up there, and now you hear all kinds of other stuff. We're getting a Hard Rock. The old flea market's going to go away, turn into a Hard Rock. We're getting a water park apparently. And
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Right by my place.
Oh, really?
Oh, is that where it's going to be? I heard a couple different spots. I heard on the Song Extension area.
Yeah, it's going to be on MLK across the street from the airport. There's just a big empty lot.
Nice.
It's there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's and then also what's the other one?
Margaritaville.
Margaritaville. That's the other one. And I'm like, okay, that all sounds great, but slow down. Let me buy something first.
I'm still trying to determine which exit I'm gonna take off 95 now when they build all that stuff.
Right?
Yeah, they're all going to be bad. So somebody who's watching this and wants to call you about the handyman services or stuff like that. So how would they get a hold of you? What?
Well, I had a website in Colorado, but I stopped using it, and then I have just not managed it at all.
Okay.
So for now, it's just a phone number and email, I suppose.
Well, hit it. We'll link in the description.
It's a foreign number. It's still a Colorado number, but I'm going to keep it because I got so many contacts. 719-220-0233.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. I mean, that happens all the time down here. We take reservations and get phone numbers, and some guy came in and I'm like, what's your phone number? It was 651. I'm like, hey, what part of Minnesota are you from? It's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I have the same prefix on mine.
And everyone keeps their numbers because of all the contacts they've got.
Right.
It's so easy to. There's no reason to change anymore, I suppose.
Right. It's not like the old days. I don't know how old you are, but not like the old days where like you could pay for long distance. People that just drive.
And we'll
people
also
don't even understand that these days.
Right? Oh, that was
you
such a
had to
thing.
dial the area code. It cost money.
Yeah, even with the early cell phones too. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
always a big upcharge on that.
Yeah.
Well, like a lot of other people, I don't answer all the calls because there's just too many of them. It's always best to leave a message, or even better, texting, explain what you're looking for, what you're trying to do, or who you're trying to reach.
There we go.
There's also email, that works pretty good too. It's Billco, BILLCO 42@gmail.com.
All right. So a couple ways to get a hold of you and get a quote or get some. You come down and take a look at.
Yeah. Give me an idea of what it is you're trying to do, and I can do just about anything. There's not much I can't do, and I'll come take a look and give you an idea of what a timeline and a price would be, and if there's something I think I'm not comfortable with, I'm not afraid to say that. I would sub out to professionals. If we got to pull permits, we got to have professionals do that. So I'm not going to try and talk my way through things I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay. Awesome. No, that's good, and it's just nice to find people that do that kind of stuff that you can kind of trust. Like we had Donnie on. I'm going to take my cars to him now. Like just I don't know why I wasn't doing it before.
And in the construction field, there's just so much. Unfortunately, there's so much bad, and there's like you hear all the stories about like the roofers that come around and take deposits and never come back, and even on a smaller level, even like just regular construction or remodeling or even handyman, there's too many jerks out there. They're just they never show up. Like oh yeah, I'll be back on Monday, and then next Monday, okay, well you keep calling. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And that's so weird to me. Don't you want to make money? Why do people do that so?
Yeah, you do one person right, you get 3 referrals. You stay in business.
and the word of mouth talks so much faster than other kind of advertising. All my clients love me because I'm the one-man band. They don't need a dozen different people coming and going. A plumber one day bitching about the drywall guy the other day, and then the drywall guy's got to come back because the plumber did something wrong. And then I do everything, so you don't have to worry about 10 different guys arguing, blaming each other who did what wrong.
Yeah, that's another.
People appreciate that.
That's another big thing. Is like the subs start blaming each other, and then the homeowner's sitting there like, I don't care, I just want
it done.
I mean, we had a team with 6 guys in our house before we sold our condo in Missouri.
Yeah.
And they got it done fast, but like 6 dudes in your house when you're working at home.
Right. And
It's like a lot of dudes.
Each day it's a different person that starts
And it was
out in the
a
morning.
smoke break every
Where's
5
John? He
minutes
was
in the
here.
morning.
Now it's Dave. Like I can't keep up.
Yeah, when we had some work done in Minnesota, we had a guy that we knew that did kind of what you do. He redid our bathroom and master bedroom, like with framing and drywall and all the flooring, the whole 9 yards. And it was just nice to have one guy.
Yeah.
You know,
People really appreciate that.
It's one phone number you got to call to find out the status of stuff. It's one.
And
phone
one
number.
person is accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you want to change a little something or add a little something, it's so much easier when you do it with one
Right.
person, not like, oh, ask that guy. What? Which guy? Well, he's not here today, but tomorrow maybe.
What's the old too many cooks in the kitchen deal, man? If you have a point person that's doing the work, like it's an easy, clear line of communication.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not texting a team, I'm texting a guy.
Yeah.
So what kind of like? Give me an idea of like some really cool high-end stuff you've done for.
Well, that's another thing that people, at least a lot of my clients like me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and so, which can be good and bad. Sometimes I waste way too much time on one caulk line that no one's ever going to see.
Yeah.
The tile stuff I've did in the past is pretty extravagant. I've even, with some of these rich people, I'm even tiling ceilings and
What?
stuff. Yeah, so these giant bathrooms with walk-in closets and couches and stuff, and they want these elaborate tiles with little mosaics, and it goes up on the steps of the garden tub, and backsplashes galore. But some people even want the ceilings tiled. That's pretty fun.
How do you do that?
It's not easy. You gotta, you can't put heavy tiles. It's gotta be lightweight stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly small stuff.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, that was. I'm wondering because like, is there a special kind of grout or?
There's different kinds of adhesive. When you're doing floors, you're using thin stuff like a cement.
Yeah.
When you're doing walls, it's more of a different kind of a glue.
Yeah.
And there's different grades of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so you want some thin, lightweight tiles and small little mosaics and stuff. You're making patterns.
Okay. Well, yeah, we my wife and I do some. Well, she lays the tile. Like, my wife's amazing. She does like drywall and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's your level of perfectionist. So, but yeah, I just cut it. So and I still have 10 fingers. I'm pretty happy with my.
Doing good.
Yeah, I did good so far. But yeah, we used to do a lot of tile, so that's why I was so curious when it comes to ceiling. Like,
Yeah, only a few times, and it started in showers. I would do ceiling tiles on showers with a light in it, and then they started going, what if we want to do the whole ceiling? Like, I've never done that before, but I don't see why not.
Okay. And get it to stick in one place. I guess you can see it stick everywhere. It's just
It's just a matter of getting the right materials. You can't just go around putting anything up there; it's going to come down.
Yeah.
And a lot of prep work. Like anything with construction, it's all about the foundation. The better the start, the better the finish.
Yeah.
And that's another important thing about being a one-man band. If I'm the one doing the framing, then I can set myself to make the drywall easier.
Mm-hmm.
If I do the drywall, I set myself for making the finish mudding easier.
Yeah.
If I'm doing the mudding, I make the texture easier. Versus the framing guy doesn't get shit off the drywall.
Right.
The other guy doesn't get shit off the texture.
That's
guy.
his problem, right? Or her problem.
And everything's all uneven and nothing's square, and so it's great to from start to finish to have one guy that knows what he's doing do it all right from the first step.
Yeah.
So that every step is even better, easier.
it's the only-
the finished product is perfect.
Only person you'd be screwing over is yourself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And I like to make the next day easier as I go. I start with the hardest stuff first if I can, and make my job easier through the day or through the week or whatever.
Okay.
And so same thing with setting yourself up for that next stage of the work. You want to make it easier, not harder.
Okay. Do you ever have? You talk about doing everything yourself. Are there times where you work with other people? Or do you?
For sure.
If like the plumbing is really complicated, requires permits, all this other stuff.
Yes.
You have guys you can kind
Then
of collaborate
right.
with.
If it's a main sewer stuff or replumbing a whole house, you want to hire a professional plumbing company.
Yeah.
If you're just getting installing a toilet or changing out some sinks and all that kind of plumbing, that's relatively simple and I can do that. But if you're doing a major job, I would recommend having a company that specifically does all that.
Okay.
Like if I'm doing electrical stuff, I can hang your lights. I can even run some new lights or add some switches if you need it. I want to add a can light here and its own little dimmer. But if you want to wire a whole house, hire an electrical company to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Okay. Yeah. No. That
And
makes
so
sense.
I would even do that for you. I can sub that out or pick the people. I know different corporations or companies that are good for that, and so I can get it lined up for you or steer you to those people.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't like to pretend I can just do anything and then screw it up. I'd rather do what I can, do what I know, and then hire other people to do things. So occasionally I'll also have helpers if I deem necessary. If a job is big enough or I want to get it done in a certain amount of time, and I know a helper will make it go faster, then I have helpers I would hire to help me.
Okay.
But usually I don't, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I hate redoing other people's work.
Yeah.
And no one else can live up to my standards. I can't even live up to my own standards sometimes. So when I have people do something for me, and it's like, I have to redo all that now. But sometimes I'll have someone to help me do stuff.
Okay, so you like to work and you're good at what you do, which is good. What do you like to do in your free time? I know you talked about surfing a little bit.
Yeah, I spent 13 years in Colorado. There's not much surfing out there. By the
Very
way.
little. Last time I checked, yeah.
So I hadn't been surfing in quite a long time, and only until a couple of years ago I started getting back into it a little bit.
Okay.
I've recently bought myself a couple of boards again, And so yeah, that's a fun thing. And, a weird thing too when you grow up surfing. You don't even think about it. You love being out there all day. I would skip school. I'm the kid that shows up to third period in a wetsuit. Whatever first period is, I failed that because I'm surfing. But then you leave for a decade or so. You come back and it's weird to get in the water again. Like, this somehow feels a little foreign and almost kind of scary at first. What's below me? After a few times, you forget all about that, and you remember to take a bicycle, you're back on the water.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, is it something that like you pick up again pretty quick, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for a little while you feel like, I suck at this. This is terrible. I used to be good at this stuff.
Yeah.
But real quick, after a few good days, you remember how easy it is.
Okay, I've never been on a surfboard, so
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things I probably will never do, but that's okay.
And what I love about the ocean, if there's no waves, well then bring out the fishing poles.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Or if it's the wrong time of year for that, go on scuba gear. I love the ocean. I want to be on top or bottom of that thing. It's just great.
Okay.
I love scuba diving because it's like, I used to tell people this, it's like visiting an alien world right here on Earth.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
go there, you can only stay for a short time, and you look at all this amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Great metaphor, actually.
Yeah, no, I like it. So, anything other than the ocean? Are you?
Yep, I'm into old muscle cars and hot rods.
All right, nice.
I like working on that kind of stuff too.
Okay.
I had a business doing that in Colorado for a while, but got to be it's one of those things where a hobby turned business turned nightmare.
Okay.
You just can't please everybody, and people doing small jobs for people, and they come back all bitching and complaining. There's this weird noise now. It's an '82 Corolla, man. I put a new starter in it. Sorry, it's gonna make weird noises.
So is that when you said you had a business? What was that business like? Describe the business. Was it?
I was Bilco Motors. I had a garage with a couple bays and a lift, and we would work on cars. The idea was if it could pay its own bills, then I could have fun just building weird shit.
Okay.
And crazy cars or fun muscle trucks or.
Okay, so you were doing kind of the normal stuff on the side, and then, as the business, and then on the side, you would kind of build your own kind of.
And sometimes I would do things for other people, trying to boost up cars or motor swaps or adding things, adding turbos or things, trying to make it more sporty and that's the kind of thing I enjoyed on my own, taking weird old cars and making them fast.
Yeah, so custom stuff would be weird though, because everyone has a vision in their head of what it's gonna look like, and then when you try to do it, I'm sure that would be a little.
Yeah.
Like you get a list of, I thought it would have, a door out the top of the roof. You didn't write that down anywhere. How am I supposed to know?
Oh, like being a Harley guy, man. These guys will put 40 into a CVO Harley, and it's like purple and sinus infection green and all that shit. And like that's their vision. Ain't worth anything on trade because nobody wants your custom.
And that's what I started finding out too. Like my vision, I like ugly old cars that are faster than hell and loud as all hell. And like my El Camino I drive around now, it looks like an ugly rust bucket, but that thing is badass.
454.
Oh, God, we saw that.
And in fact, if you were there a couple weeks before that, I was tearing the parking lot up pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's a couple pinstripes out of the handicap spot that are mine.
Oh, nice. There you go. So what's the engine on that El Camino? I
It's
literally walked by your car yesterday.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a small box 350, but it's been bored over and souped up a little bit.
Right.
And it's got a big intake with a 4-barrel, and I got a shift kit and a turbo 350 that trips through all the gears pretty good, and a posi rear end and lays track.
There we go.
And so it's fun, and I've done some work on it. The other things that people don't realize about different kinds of racing, especially like road courses, power is not the most important thing. In fact, the most important thing is brakes.
Okay.
And then handling. If you can stop, if you can wait till the last second to slow down, you're going that much faster.
Yeah.
And if you can turn faster and turn corners faster, then you're going much faster. So it's not always all about top speeds. There's other things that are more important. So that's the other thing I enjoy doing is setting a car up for different kinds of racing. And my El Camino is kind of a little bit of everybody. It can do drag racing, it can do road courses. I lowered the front end, tightened the suspension up so it could turn really good. But I left the power in the back end so it can still do drag miles. So it's kind of fun. It's not great at any one thing, but it's good at a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And that's what I like. It's a road car. It's a street car.
And when he said it looks like a rust bucket, he is not exaggerating. Like I was literally walking by that thing like, is that abandoned?
And it's funny because actually it's not even rust. It was rusty to begin with, and then it was you put a rust inhibitor on it, and then you don't paint it. And it looks rusty and ugly, but it's not rusting away.
It's like that rat rod look.
Yes.
Yeah.
They call it the patina. Yeah.
No, I mean that's awesome that was yours and that thing.
Well, it's like those 300, 400cc series of bikes. They dust leader bikes in the corners. Leader bikes got you on the straight. Corners, bikes weigh 290 pounds.
Yeah.
Those little bikes are just carving up the big bikes on a road course.
Yeah.
You know.
So you got the El Camino. What else do you got right now?
Well, actually the one I'm really liking is a '68 Javelin. An old AMC car.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of
You
those.
do not. And see, I was actually searching for like a late '60s Camaro Firebird thing. When I came across the Javelin, like, wait a minute, you don't see this very much. Everyone's got a fucking Camaro.
Yeah, no one has a
Javelin.
With a bandit car.
Yeah.
And so actually I've been carrying that thing around for near 10 years. I've never even driven it yet.
Okay.
I didn't even drive it home. It's never ran. I've got a motor for it, got a transmission for it, I got all these ideas for it, but I've never actually put it together yet.
Okay.
And in fact, one of my clients, they have a restoration shop in Rockledge, Harbor City Auto. They do amazing work. They sell to presidents and ball players and royalty and stuff. And so I'm going to have them prep and prime it for me before it rusts away. I brought it to Florida and it's starting to rust away.
Yeah.
It is not like the El Camino. But that thing's a bit of nostalgic for mine. My dad had a Javelin when I was just a little wee thing, and he got rid of it when I got a little older. But I remember him was joking about that. That thing was so amazing. It was faster than it would pass up anything on the road but a gas station. Like 6 miles to the gallon.
Oh, is it really? It's one of those?
Yeah. I think it was an AMX actually, is what it was, and it had the big block or something. And there's nostalgic reasons why I've been carrying the thing around for a while. Plus, I just like that body style, and it's one of the old pony cars from the '60s.
Yeah.
And I've just got this picture in my mind of how it's going to be, and so I keep dragging it around. I've had a few other cars. I've had so many cars. In fact, it's funny to joke around. My friends who know me, I'm down to 4 cars, and 3 of them are actually drivable and registered with tags.
That's unusual.
I've had more than a dozen at a time, even in a full-size school bus for a while.
Oh, good lord.
I thought I was going to make an RV out of that, but I ended up getting rid of it.
Yeah.
I just recently sold a '64 Mercury, which is pretty awesome.
Oh,
In fact, a fun story, it's on its way to Iceland, is where it's headed.
Florida to Iceland.
Yeah. Or is it Finland? No, Finland, I think. Yeah, it's
That's
Finland.
worse.
Yeah, Finnish type. They got a car club out there. They like old American muscle, and
Okay.
so he bought to take it out there to his car club. And I just sold a '67 Nova. It was an old 4-door Nova, not the ones people usually like, but I like that one. That was the first project car I bought out in Colorado. And I never did much work to it. I put a clutch in it and took it to the racetracks, even though it was just all ugly and leans over because it doesn't have good suspension. But that was what was so fun about it. You could do 40 miles an hour, it's like you're doing 100.
You never knew where it was going to go. Yeah, my wife had a Nova when she was learning how to drive because it's a tank. Pretty much.
Is that what she got all the tickets in back in the day?
But, back in the day. She's a very good driver now, honey. I love you. No, she actually done a lot better. But back in the day, she might have had some issues. Yeah. Points, things like that.
And so that might be a thing I'm trying to get back into. I was flipping cars for a while. I'd get cars from auction, or I'd find old cars, because they don't rust away out in Colorado. You can find them all over the place. And so that's something I'm considering doing again, getting back into that. I would get modern cars out of auctions, like WRXs or Golfs and GTIs and stuff. And I'd play with them for a while, maybe add some power or just sell them off. And so that's something I'm probably going to get back into. In fact, I've got this idea of bringing old cars this way. I just had good luck selling these other 2 cars so quick, and people like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about bringing cars this way and taking trucks that way.
Okay.
You can get pickup trucks, especially 4x4s, pretty cheap here compared to out there.
Yeah.
And 4x4s aren't all that necessary here as they are out there.
No,
So
maybe once a year you need it.
We
Right.
put summer tires on our 4Runner before we moved to Florida because it's not going to snow.
Right.
And we're not going mudding. Right?
So that's probably something I'm going to get back into too. If people are interested in that kind of thing, you could hit me up on that too, because I definitely enjoy cars and I like buying and selling stuff.
Nice. Well, give us the phone number one more time.
That's 719-220-0233.
All right.
And the email, again, BILLCO, billco42@gmail.com.
Awesome, man. Thanks for spending time with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So, yeah. Thanks.
Right on, man.
All right.
And it all seemed a little more simple then. Baggy jeans and a beat up pair of sneakers. Congos on the radio, fishermen. Dreadlocks in a room full of tweakers. We didn't know what direction we was going in. Or could my Volkswagen get up out the driveway? I only knew that I wasn't no bowling pin. I lived life and I fucking did it my way. 2 fingers up for soul revolution that we started when we was young and full of what? And since I bring it up, my whole evolution was always all about following my gut. And it all seemed a little more easy then. Planetary vessels vibrant and youthful. And music was the medicine we needed, man. Freewheeling and we looking for what's truthful. I take the high road until the high wears off, and then I argue with racists on Facebook. I get nostalgic for time that we didn't know, that every other motherfucker's in a hate group. 2 fingers up for the soul protectors. When we started we was young and full of what? And since I bring it up to the whole collective, I've been following you, following your gut.
This is the life that chose me. I fell into it very natural. Everyone has a story. Some took the road less traveled. I've come to know I need some help, but won't succumb to my lower self. Follow your path, some won't believe. On your own, how alone that must have felt. Remember what a feeling would first find me. Tribe unique and we was chiefin' in the 90s. Get into it, then I had the homies back up. Mama's mad that we scratching all they wax up. Graffiti writers with a marker that I got from school. Had a secret tag name that nobody knew. Lee and Beach Street got me drawing on my hat. Raymond got me trying to paint the bus like that. Battle B-boys, hit them with a freestyle. Smash toys, then go somewhere and cheap out. Gave us motivation for something to think about. My young adult days, building at my DJ's house. Dressed different, look different, with or without a hook in it. X-Clan, native tongue, public enemy and BDP didn't put the books in it. Edutainment and never looked timid, brung the whole hood with us. This is the life that chose me. I fell into it very natural. Everyone has a story. Some took the road less traveled. I've come to know I need some help, but won't succumb to my lower self. Follow your path, some won't believe. On your own, how alone that must have felt.
Fist in the air, no, I'm never giving up. You wanna see what I'm about, then step the fuck up. I ain't the average woman, can get me caught up. My conscience stays elevated like the sky above. I recall I was a little more innocent, for bombs dropping saw the way the world was heading in. The downward spiral never really built it in. Like ASAP, I start my city with a single brick. Got a new fit, a fresh pair of classes. If we gon' do it right, I gotta rock the proper kicks. So sick with it, every little bit. Nothing but the whole truth, so we know you feel it. Timber strapped to my back any given day. Made beauty from the beats my hands played. Soon came the rhythms over which I sang. Life wouldn't be the same if I didn't create.
This is the life that chose me. I fell into it very natural. Everyone has a story. Some took the road less traveled. I've come to know I need some help, but won't succumb to my lower self. Follow your path, some won't believe. On your own, how alone that must have felt.